Hello everyone, welcome to the Rally Cry halftime show, where we'll sit, chat a little bit, meme a little bit until we get to see these two face off again. Great stuff coming out from Immortals though. I mean, I'm serious and stuff to watch overall, but they're starting things off strong.
True. I mean, I don't think IMT were expected to have this strong of a game going up against Golden Guardians because they both fight really fast, and Golden Guardians have typically done it better throughout the course of the season. But IMT, they came into the game plan, they executed it well, and Joey's on fire.
It'll be exciting to see if they're going to be able to pull that off for Game 2, maybe Game 3. I can't tell the future, but I'm hoping that y'all could help me maybe try and make a couple of predictions going on with these teams.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone remembers the tarot cards that I managed to bring out like week 2, week 3. Found them at the thrift store. They seem pretty reliable. So I think we're going to do some readings for our players and our teams, okay?
Okay, sounds good, sounds good.
You know, one of my best friends collects tarot cards, and I say that yours top the bunch. You found the best ones I've ever seen.
Weird how they are so relevant to the Challengers League, too.
Yeah, so specific.
I
so
got
specific.
I spent a good $1 on these, so I'm glad that they're really putting in the work. But I'm going to have one of y'all ask the question. I will do the super cool tarot card things, and the other gets to interpret how this is going to go down, all right?
Sounds good.
Who
Who's
wants
asking
to
first?
Yeah, who wants to ask first?
You can ask first.
All right. I'm ready. Do I have to just say it now, or?
Yeah, go ahead and
Okay,
ask.
I thought you got to do your shuffling thing. Okay,
no, I'll
okay.
shuffle up during, and then wherever this lands, it's meant to be.
What does Yusui have in his future?
Ooh.
Ooh, all right, let's see. We got this.
You know, Yusui in the future is going to say, I am over mid lane, and I actually want to go do something else. You know what? I'm going the jungle. I really like
the jungle,
turtles,
okay.
Too. Yeah, and there's no turtle champion, but Rammus kind of makes me feel okay.
He's kind of a turtle.
So, you know, kind of in the same category, and Yusui saying that's my new calling. I want to feel like I have a shell that is diamond strong and really help me protect my team, and I am going to pretend that Rammus is a turtle and fulfill my dream in the jungle.
It's a very specific prediction. Wow, I'm really impressed. Like, most psychics, they try and give me something like, oh, you need to look inside yourself and see what you feel is actually going to be happening. But no, I mean, I respect that, Gabby. You're the best psychic I've ever been to.
I maxed my confidant status with like what I can do with the fortune teller in Persona 5. So I therefore learned all the skills and can be as specific as I want in
wow.
I can't wait for this arc then in Yusui's journey. That will be exciting to follow. All right. All right, well, I don't know, Joshi. We'll have to see if you're as good as a tarot card reader. Gabby, you get to ask a question now for Joshi to answer.
Ooh. All right. Joshi.
Yeah, okay. See a chicken.
Who will be the next player that Golden Guardians as an organization role swaps?
Roll swaps. Oh, okay.
All right, we got 2 cards.
Worm and the cat. Wow. Golden Guardians. Who are they actually going to be role swapping? I feel as though this is a very specific target towards Young in particular, right? He's kind of been a player who, whenever you look at like all of his different hairstyles, it oftentimes is a thing where, especially if he hasn't showered that morning, you can see those little bits of his hair popping up like the cat ears. And he's really the player that has personified what actually it means to have cat ears without actually having them. And so as we look at it though, the question is, where are they going to be going? And I'm going to determine that worm is actually spelled with a Y instead of with an O. He's also going to be going into the jungle, and we will see what it is that Young can actually do. You got to make sure you take down every worm, aka every dragon, this time around. And I mean, honestly, if you're going to be trying to take after somebody else in the series, you got to go after Chad, and that's where the cat comes back. Young is going to be going with a spirit animal, going to be playing the Nidalee and the Rengar every time we see him.
Aren't we in kind of a jungle weak meta right now?
Yes.
Why is everyone going to jungle?
To make it strong again.
It's wrong.
Okay. You know what? I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that. All right. Next question here, Joshi, for Gabby.
Here we go. All right. Is the relationship that Wixie and Joey have true love?
Ooh.
Okay. Let's see. Oh no.
Okay. So I think that this is one of those. It's a beautiful romance for quite some time. I think there's so
check the compatibility charts.
much, that is going great. And Wixie and Joe are like, yeah, we really jive. And then all of a sudden, Joey's like, I went through a lot of change. I don't like hooks anymore. I feel like I need to float around a little bit. And I like floating like a cat is all I want to do for the rest of my career. And then Wixie was like, I love you, and I think that I wanted to be in this relationship, but I can't jive with, we don't have the fire anymore. Where are the hooks? Where I need the danger. I need the danger of you just going in with the Nautilus hook or bringing someone right to us. I miss that excitement. And then Joey says, fine, I'm going to go float away into the clouds and I'm going to cry and it's going to be a storm around me because now I'm sad.
Wow.
And that's what's going to happen.
Was that a yes or a no?
It's true love now, but people change and love changes. And, the rom-com advances and they're not the ones that were targeted in the script. So
it's not a happy ending to that story.
It was the cards.
It's going well so far. It's going well so far at the very least.
That sounds like it's in the future. That we're great now. But
it's good now. I'm sorry, Wixie and Joey, for what's going to befall you. All right. Next question. Maybe this one's a little more positive of an outcome.
Yeah, the tarot cards are not having it with Wixie and Joey.
They're not happy about that.
Golden Guardians fans.
All right, Gabby, you're
question,
next.
Gabby.
Yeah,
it's my turn to ask. That's right.
Your next turn to see what the future holds.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Who do you think out of these two teams is like, who's like the angel team and who's the bad boy team? Like there's always like the angel and which one's
the angel or the devil?
Yeah, which one's like the angel and which one's the devil in this matchup narratively? Like who's the good guy? Who's the good guy, bad guy? But bad guys are cool. So that's not a
true.
Yoshi, we'll give you a third card for this, okay?
Third card. Upgrade. Salt Chicken Kings. Huh. Okay.
Good luck.
Well, I feel like the Salt King is absolutely Chad. That's for sure. But how is there the chicken involved? Because
one angle team, one devil team.
True. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of been the thing, right? I feel as though this means that IMT is our angle, right? We have seen the Salt King come through, the person who's been talking the most trash about everybody, with a specific vendetta against a certain Dignitas jungler for sure, but the amount of things that Chad says on social media that messages us behind the scenes is to say, hey, these guys, I'm going to trash on them every single time. It just means that Chad has kind of ascended through all this trash talk. Every time he says something about another player, it allows him to level up. Whereas the Chicken, Golden Guardians, they showed up for a lot of team fights, but they didn't actually go for any of the engages that we knew that they were going for throughout so much of the regular season. That makes them the devil this time coming through. Just not able to get anything done, coming out from the sides. And it feels more like the kind of devil that's going to be like holding around the side and kind of like, what's going on over there? But without actually coming in to go for any of these fights. We got to see a more advanced Evo coming through from Golden Guardians this time around in order to try and come back in this one. And no more chicken. This is what they are now, what they need to not be going forward.
No more of this.
No more chicken.
I'm surprised that you could go on about someone being a Salt King and talking all this trash and be like, yeah, certified angel. Yep, this is our good guy.
They're the good guys.
You know, they keep it interesting, you know?
Yeah.
All right. I think we get one more question each. This one, free
more,
reign.
okay.
It could be about our teams. It could be about yourselves if you ever wanted to, you know, not pay for a tarot card reading. This is...
Okay.
Is that all right?
All right, what's a good one here? Will or which Challengers caster will appear on LCS next?
Ooh. All right. Got 2 cards. Cards a lot.
I'm trying to think who like has the most vibes with these cards. Well, I feel like you're
It's a very
giving me
odd
the
set of
answer right there, though.
Josie's really trying to manifest this one.
Yeah, you know, I gotta go. So like Joshi, since we were
Pog.
on yesterday, and the performance was so cash money,
Let's cash money.
and you're drinking the tea now and manifesting it for real, then that's it. You gotta drink like a tea a day, though. That's what this is one
Oh,
of those
that's a lot of
Actually,
teas.
a
that gives
tea
you
though, too?
like, yeah, it's a tea. That's not like this is a reading where you have to follow the steps.
You have to do everything in order. That's
Yep.
true. It has been a cash money week for me. I actually have worked more days this week than
Yeah.
I think I've worked in like
You're getting this.
Eight
You're
weeks.
securing this.
back days.
8
Yeah.
back-to-back days. I didn't
So-
get paid for all of them, but it's still just like, oh my god, just the grind never stops.
So grind and keep getting the cash money weeks and drink your tea every day and manifest
big
it
and
into
strong.
reality. Yes.
All right, I appreciate the photo conference coming through. I'm gonna get that second date. Let's go.
All right, Gabby. You get to ask a question now.
All right.
Teams about your life, anything you want.
Let's see. So sometimes I cut my hair off and donate it. Sometimes I leave it long and just forget to cut it. What's the future of my hair?
What's the
Joshi.
future of your hair?
I was trying to
Okay.
figure out if it's haircut time or not, and I just need you to tell me.
Cook Ghost.
Good luck.
What happens? What
I'm
happens?
pretty
to this
sure.
this year?
I'm pretty sure. This is the tarot card saying that you need to keep the hair going, right?
Okay.
Now, whenever you see someone with a ghost that's always super, super long hair that they have every single time, you gotta grow it out in order to make sure you look like a ghost because that's a cook, but it also is fire, right? You're gonna have it's gonna look hot, hot, hot as you're starting to look for the rest of the season.
All right, I want to haunt like a ghost, so I got to keep the hair long. Okay.
You
That's
gotta,
exactly
you
what
gotta
you're
let
like.
it
That's
cook.
the energy that we're
Yeah.
looking at from Gabby Durden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Ghost
All right.
energy.
So we have one last card in the deck. And
Oh,
I
there's been no
figured that-
recycling. Okay.
No recycling. So this is the last one because I had to pull
Sarah,
out
can we ask
the
you a question?
card. Well, I was gonna say for
okay.
upcoming series by
Yeah.
chance.
All right.
So
I
this
like
is the
it. That's a
one
good question.
card to just talk about the series, our game 2, our potential game 3. Not planned whatsoever. Y'all saw me shuffling on stream.
Oh, the Chad.
I like the drawing.
I really thought of going for it, like just trying to draw a Chad
That
face.
chiseled draw.
With the jaw, but then as soon as I thought about drawing it, in my mind it came out like a troll, and I was not looking. But yeah, our upcoming
It is what
series.
it is. I mean, I think that says to me this is going to be like Immortals 2-0 coming through. They looked super red-hot fighter in Game 1, and in Game 2, we'll see what it is that Golden Guardians can actually do. Something I have not mentioned yet, which I think is worth noting, is that Viego has had a game-breaking bug discovered and has been disabled until further notice, which was something that was both a character that Chad loved to play, but also that Rosethorn was having a lot of success on so far, but we just saw Chad doesn't need that character to have some success. We get to see what was that you called that cat earlier today?
This was Kylo.
Kylo.
Are you saying the words that I'm not allowed to repeat on broadcast as he was knocking over all of the stuff on my setup? So
There's another one in the chair too.
here is one in the chair. This one's Kylo though. He's not having a good time. He's trying to bite me. He heard the chat and he thought we said the cats. Me. So
cat.
Yeah, he's he's just coming by. He heard the game 2 is on the horizon here, and he wants to know if Immortals are going to be able to clean up a second game, or if we're going to see that game 3. It's time to find out. Our draft is ready. I'll see you two later.
Bye, Zero.
Bye. Yeah, I am stoked to get into this draft because even though the tarot reading said that it was going to be an Immortals Chad dominant game, I feel like Golden Guardians are going to come back with something to try and lean into their desire to play in the way that Immortals played in game number 1. I wouldn't be surprised if this series ends up going to game 3.
I would not be surprised, right? At the very beginning, I mean, we were looking at Golden Guardians being a fairly, not the heaviest of favorites we've ever seen, but definitely a strong favorite going into this series. And I mean, they just kind of got shut down from the very beginning of the game, but this time they banned away both Joey's Blitzcrank and Chad's Graves, and it does force IMT onto something a little bit different. They are going for the Aphelios Thresh, as we were kind of looking them to do last game, and just as we were talking about the research of Tom Kench in the LCS, Prism going to be bringing it right on through, and Rosethorn, also on a champion that I'm definitely more excited to see them, but wow, Gabby, this draft is going fast. We gotta get the Kindred locked in for Chad as well.
So fast. Bot lane secured for Golden Guardians. The response of getting it locked on the other side as well. And now junglers being selected, which will dictate the way the rest of these bans go here, targeting the solo lane specifically. But that means Rosethorn on a pick like Vi, where you are looking to try and lock down singular targets, really get those advantages through that kill pressure and setting up for the team. But then on the opposite side, something that very team fight oriented later on and has its own ways of really impacting the game for Chad. So they're really speeding into the strats that both of them want to bring.
This draft is lightning fast too.
It's so
right?
fast.
Like, holy cow. I don't think I've ever seen a draft go this quickly. I mean, on either side.
A playoff match.
Yeah, and a playoff match too. They're just like, yeah, no, we know exactly what we want. Now, I wonder at this point, as we see the Olaf come through for ADD. All right, I was going to say that based on the tarot cards in particular, this game was going to be a lot about the Chad coming through on this Kindred. They have asked a lot of questions already for IMT, but this top side is really going to be Bishin and Bashin all over the rift here for Immortals. They're going to be looking to fight really early on. But the other big thing that they need to be very careful of is they only have one source of magic damage here, Gabby. It is Yusui. If Yusui falls behind, Immortals are going to have a real tough time getting through all of the big healthy members of Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I just can't believe that we're already at the point where we are digesting the comps in their entirety going into the game because of how swiftly this went through. But on that note, we saw how heavy of an impact in the way the builds were executed for these teams, the impact of having that mixture of magic damage and AD damage, and I'm very curious as to how the response is going to be in game number 2. But yeah. Joshi, Immortals coming out with the advantage in game 1. Very different position than Golden Guardians when it comes to this elimination playoff match.
Yeah. And it's definitely a spot here where as Immortals come through, they have a lot of tools to be more aggressive early on in the game. And so we're paying special attention to Chad and ADD coming up here in the top lane because they have a lot of this team's early game power to try and snowball the game once again. Golden Guardians are not a team that turns down a fight. They are constantly looking to go for all these skirmishes. And when you're going up against a team that just has more strength at the beginning of the game, it's going to be something where Golden Guardians need to be very careful about how they actually approach these team fights.
Yeah, and I mean, with Immortals granting themselves tools that, though in a different way, are primed for that early game pressure, and it worked out so well for them in game number 1, seeing if they can keep that up here, and if Golden Guardians can find an opening to try to offset that. But I don't know, I'm ready to rock into it, and Joshi, I mean, do you, now that you have it settled in though, and you feel that there are some early tools for Immortals, do you have confidence that they can close out the 2-0 or that Golden Guardians will find a way to break into it?
I feel as though Golden Guardians have set themselves up in a very strong way for this game, right? You have the Viatalia as a really strong jungle mid 2v2. You just make sure you use that ultimate from Rosethorn. You guarantee the Seismic Shove coming out from Young. That is a long stun and a lot of damage that you cannot deal with. But it is still going to be a position where Rosethorn has not necessarily been known to play around the mid lane a ton. We've been seeing them play around the bottom lane quite a bit, and also towards Concept when Concept does have some of these stronger laning champions. And so it's really going to have to depend on how well Golden Guardians can play through this middle of the lane. Whereas Chad, I mean, he's really going to have to team up with somebody that he doesn't often play towards. He's going to have to play towards ADD. And you can see that they're already trying to start this at level 1.
Exactly. The fact that it's not really the lane through which he plays, but making sure to fully commit to that structure right off the bat because of the way that they drafted and matching any potential pressure that Golden Guardians could put on this early positioning. But nonetheless, ADD venturing into the jungle, seeing if they can get this ward and some early intel on Rose Thorn's location, and Chad and ADD partnering up to start up this blue buff.
Yeah, I mean, coming through together, I am not super surprised that Chad is going for this kind of thing. He was known as the king of level 1s going into last year, constantly looking for ways to make his opponents uncomfortable, and there's already a ward in a fantastic spot for IMT. They will see that Rose Thorn moving on over, does pass over the ward and goes directly towards the red buff. So there's perfect information that IMT are currently playing with across the board, and that will give Chad a lot of freedom as the Chad, the tarot cards have already said it, Gabby, is going to be looking for opportunities to potentially even dive towards the top side. These are two very strong early game champions.
Yes, because everything that you noted about what IMT was looking to make happen early, it starts with plays like that. It's not just at the moment that you get that initial kill or that initial focus on the wave. It's when you go and you start to take some of the resources from the enemy jungle. You have that information on where Rose Thorn is currently and allow that to inform the rest of the way that you play. So Chad and ADD with a plan in mind. All the while over on the bot side, the poke from Array and keeping this wave pushed up as much as possible. Rose Thorn still down over on the bot side and trying to get some of the vision to be able to offset of the pressure that Immortals had allotted when they ended up going into Rose Thorn's jungle.
Yeah. And this is really good coming up from Golden Guardians, right? Understanding that they need to get this early push on the bottom side in order to equalize for Rose Thorn, Wixie and Joey. Knowing that they can't really contest either because Rose Thorn can still go for some of these early ganks, will allow Golden Guardians to recoup a lot of the early losses. It's also going to be a spot where we are still looking for some of these individual wins to come out from Golden Guardians. They don't really want to be playing this game to a standstill because it is going to be a game later on where it's going to be a little bit difficult to navigate some of these team fights, right? You have a lot of tools on IMT that ignore the crowd control by ADD, that give the entire team the Lamb's Respite so they don't actually die. And you really are looking at a very bursty style coming through for Golden Guardians. If you don't get a lot of people low when the Kindred ultimate comes down and a Raiden start getting some of these resets, it's not going to be easy for them to play that afterwards. And we saw exactly how well IMT were playing out last game, where they just never allowed Array to start popping off after getting the first reset.
So do you feel that Array is holding a lot of the pressure of this team right now and making sure that they have that damage output later, but it's also kind of the way that everyone keeps him protected, right? And allowing him to have that position to get into that carry potential.
Yeah, I don't think there's a ton of pressure on Array themselves to actually get some of these fights going because it really is how the rest of the team plays. Now they go for an engage.
This will dive attempt by Prismal and chomp, chomp, chomp away. Ushers a heal out of Wixie, so some pressure here by Golden Guardians.
Yeah. I mean, it has been a good job so far from Array and Prismal. Just as we were kind of saying, right, Array mostly just needs to be in the right spot and wait for Young and Rose Thorn to try and burst someone. He just needs to get one auto attack off in order to make sure that you get the reset, start carrying through everybody else. But that's going to be the big thing. You can't just go for some of these engages. You really got to do it in such a way that you can reset after the Lamb's Respite comes through. Because if all of your extra attack speed and movement speed comes down while they're invincible, doesn't do you a whole lot of good. And so as we start taking stock of where everything has come through, small advantage for the bottom side of Golden Guardians. They did already get a plate off of the turret. But the top side, you see that ADD has done a fairly decent job at creating a little bit of pressure, has had enough priority to support Chad if Chad did want to go for an invades.
And what Chad is deciding to go for currently is this dragon with the help of Joey. Pressing right across the 5.5 minute mark. So some early stacking for Immortals over on this bot side.
Yeah, and Immortals, I mean, Mountain Dragons are probably the most valuable single dragons that you can get in the game. They just give you so much effective gold. And with another Hextech Dragon coming up soon, if Immortals can continue to chain those, that will give them some big advantages. But going back to game 1, Gabby, we are seeing that this Vi already paying off dividends compared to the Maokai. It's not getting pushed out of its own jungle in the same way.
Yeah, exactly. One of the reasons that Immortals felt like they were able to push these early advantages was just because of the matchup. The belief in the Prismal Kench as well coming in for Golden Guardian side from Long. So always love to see the familiar faces of the scene chiming in. Remember, everyone, you can do the same.
Yeah. And Grapes, here's your challenge. You have to get 3 tweets on the broadcast today in order to win. Okay, that's your goal.
There's 2 streams to do it on.
There's 2 streams. Of course, I will not see anything on the other stream, but
that does count.
That's the challenge. So anyway, Rosethorn is coming down, is already halfway to 6, and there's a full-on fight.
Oh, Prismal in danger.
One more.
The aggressive flash. First blood drawn by Chad, but some trouble to be had as well. Young throwing down the Weaver's wall, trying to run to get the last hit onto Chad right under the tower, but the trades are still good. 3 eliminated for Golden Guardians as Young getting into the action, wants to connect another Q, but it's just Joey left standing.
And it's a wild fight, Gabby. Everyone back and forth. The hook lens.
Not like this. Young is nice and low. Does manage to get out of there. Not enough damage coming from Joey, but there's Yusui on the way. LeBlanc's got some damage. Can get the hit onto Young before Prismal makes the way to the fight. That was so many kills in a short amount of time.
6 kills coming through. 4 of them go over to IMT. They once again have an early gold lead. They are first to the punch, and wow. The big thing at the end of it, Chad still looking to try and get this first mark. Does actually grab it for themselves. Was not able to mark anybody in that last fight. But a couple of kills go over to Wixie. Couple of kills go over to both the jungler and the mid lane here for IMT. But as it starts off, I mean, the big thing is Prismal not yet super tanky on this Tahm Kench, isn't able to get anything else out. Shield doesn't pop either. And as the re-engage starts to come through, I mean, Array doesn't have any mana left. That's one of the big things you always got to look at for the Jinx is do they have the damage to actually close things out. Now, as this goes really close, you got to praise Wixie for dodging out on that Q, trying to get the last bit of damage. But after that, ooh, Joey, right after he lands his hook, ends up auto-attacking a minion, but it works out because Yusui ends up getting killed instead.
And all the while now it's topside that gets the action in. Olaf really trying to get the lockdown, but ADD is the first to fall. So Golden Guardians evening things up a tad.
Yeah, gold remains relatively even. Golden Guardians as well. Wait, who actually got the Rift Herald? It is in the pockets of Rosethorn. Wixie, just as we were praising IMT for bringing everybody up towards the top side last time in order to play for the Rift Herald, it is Golden Guardians who do it, and Wixie will at least be getting a plate in recompense. And now Concept needs to be a little bit careful. Chad might be able to run him down with this red buff.
Looking to do something. This Concept now, yeah, popping to create some distance here, and I think that when you just look at how quickly a lot of the sequencing happened in some of those plays, though, Joshi, because it was over 1,000 gold lead that was created by IMT with that 2-for-4 trade, Chad getting that first blood in that, but then because even though it was only a single kill for Golden Guardians, but getting that Rift Herald into the pocket of Rosethorn, you have to also think about the gold that they will get off of that Rift Herald drop play. So making sure to keep the pressure up elsewhere. A minute to go until the second dragon spawns here.
And both teams will have to take stock of what items they will actually have coming out for this fight. I mean, the people that we have to really pay attention to are Young and Wixie, who both got a couple of kills off of the big skirmish that we saw down in the bottom side, but neither of them currently looking to actually finish out their first item at all. And that's definitely a position where it feels as though there's a little bit of an advantage coming through for Golden Guardians. They have a lot of base damages and a lot of base stats, especially coming out from characters like the Tahm Kench. And IMT, the big question that we'll have for them is how do they actually break that? Can they get a better setup? Where do Yusui and Chad move around in order to maximize their opportunity to attack the backlines?
And to help them try to find out an answer to that question, Joey will be sticking with Chad for some time, and That's somebody that we were looking at so significantly in game number 1 on the Blitzcrank and now on the Thresh. Another extremely comfortable champion for Joey.
Yep.
Will hopefully help them access the back
Array
that you're mentioning. Array getting into it just a bit here as Joey was looking for the potential connect, but not going to find it just yet. Now it's the Dragon that receives the focus. Sui going for the root.
Walking the Rose Thorn.
And coming on out of it, Rosethorn pushed away. So Prismal now falls, one of the biggest protective pieces around Array, no longer here, which means Immortals feel the opening to take this Dragon.
Wow. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you always look at for Prismal. He is one of our best playmakers when they're being aggressive, but also sometimes things like that will happen, right? Going for the aggressive Devour onto Yusui instead of the defensive Devour onto Rosethorn ends up putting Prismal in a spot where he cannot leave. He ends up going down, and it is going to be a second Dragon coming out for Immortals. They only have a small gold lead, but already threatening to win some of these longer stacking games, and ADD teleports back up to the top side as well. Make sure they didn't lose too much there. So far, I mean, Immortals, they're coming out a little bit ahead in almost every single one of these interactions. So as we take a look at how this comes through, we gotta kind of shift our expectations for Golden Guardians. They are a little bit past the prime time when you start looking for the Talia combos to come through immediately. Now they got to do it for picks, and they also got to do it in such a way that Array is going to be towards the front line, as IMT already here to try and respond to this Rift Herald.
And being dropped here by
Array, no flash.
ADD was waiting in the bush to make the play onto Array. Oh no, the biggest source of damage brought on down. And Prismal also finding himself under the axes of Olaf. And the chase is good onto Young. So despite a crash into that top turret, the kills all going in favor of Immortals. 3 killed already, looking to make that 4.
Wow.
What a play from them to answer that dropping over on the top side.
I'm going to unironically say, Gabby, that's probably the best play I've seen from ADD this entire split. Waiting around in that bush in order to find the flank, this is something that ADD has not done all of spring so far, and gives Immortals a huge advantage. The top lane turret doesn't even die. And so ADD chilling around down here is able to find a massive flank. Big thing though, it is traded over for a lot of plates. Concept uninterrupted down in the bottom side definitely finds a lot of money there for themselves, and there's also a lot of money that is picked up here. But as we take another look at this, Array had to use the flash previously trying to get away from Joey, and as the fight erupts, there's no contest at all coming through from Golden Guardians. The damage dealer is instantly dead, and Young with no mana doesn't get to participate. So it feels, again, Golden Guardians, they are not one to shy away from the fight, but this is one that if they had known where ADD was, there's no way they can ever go for that play, and it's starting to shake some of the confidence that Golden Guardians have to be playing with.
Yeah, because you can see how that started, where ADD had one into the bush, was considering backing, and then, oh no, wait, there's Array right there. There is clearly a play about to happen over on this top side, and now that gold lead for Immortals has stretched to 2,000. Even when it wasn't that significant of a gold lead before, you had to consider where that gold was. When Wixie had already had 3 kills, a bounty, plenty of farm. So that in itself was an advantage for Immortals. Now they have extended that gold into the pockets of so many more of the members of their squad. The continuation of the advantage for the carry position. And I mean, look at that. That's just something that Golden Guardians is going to have a difficult time breaking into from here on out, as we have now extended past the 14 minutes.
Yeah, but it is worth noting, though, that Concept does actually have a gold lead here over ADD, despite all the kills that this Olaf has picked up. That's going to be one of the things that can be an opportunity for Golden Guardians, because Casante can take people off of the Lamster Spike, can separate them from the rest of the duels, and just go for one of the 1v1s off on the side of the fight. So that is an opportunity where Concept suddenly has an opportunity to have an outsized impact on this game, where they weren't really necessarily looking for that previously. But IMT, yet again, Gabby, as we look towards this, it's not nearly as Chad focused as the tarot cards would lead us to believe, but it is definitely a spot where it feels like Wixie has had another opportunity. He and Joey, we're still in the danger part of their relationship. There's still plenty of opportunities for them to blow up individual members, and now they already have the Gale Force completed. They're going to start looking to Kaisa all over people.
Still clear skies so far for this bot lane, and no rain to be
Storms
had.
later.
Yeah, Wixie and Joey making sure that they're, well, I would say, oh, they're living in California, so that would make sense, but it's been raining more than it's ever
True.
So doesn't really apply, but you get my drift. And either way, it's Joey and the rest of Immortals will have so much confidence in the strength that Wixie has been able to build up. But even though Chad hasn't been necessarily the main character, still in a formidable position, has the Kraken Slayer completed, able to pick up the second Rift Herald. ADD now splitting on that pressure to take down turret on the bot side, because that is one area in which Golden Guardians was excelling with the turret pressure, just because of, even though they didn't get the completion of that top turret off of the first Rift Herald, it did weaken it enough. But now Immortals throwing the weight of their gold across this map.
Yeah, they're already setting up. Both teams now in the jockeying for control over the mid wave, because both these turrets are still standing. You do have a bit of a defensive position to return to if some of these things do go poorly, but Golden Guardians, they do a good job. They are going to be getting to the dragon first, and so watch how Yusui, and in particular, is going to be trying to play this, because Golden Guardians are actually really surprised they're not going to be contesting this much at all. They're coming in very, very late.
Oh yeah, they finished it off already, so able to prevent that gold point, but the fight is good. Look at the wave in the center of them all. Golden Guardians ushered back into the pit. A blast of damage onto Chad, and the follow-up from Rosethorn means the first kill allotted to the Golden Guardian side. And Yusui right between way too many blue bars. Unstoppable force from the ultimate from Rosethorn into the back, but ends up falling before they can get the completion of the kill. Exhaust on Wixie before he ends up falling at the hand of the enemy. And the fight's still good. Flash away here from Joey, just trying to channel it out, because Concept was still in pursuit, but these fights are scrappy with so many kills on both sides, and Golden Guardians coming out with the dragon and then coming out with some scrap.
Yeah, great stuff coming through from Concept, making that fight super, super chaotic. But we gotta look at how that fight actually broke out, where everything was starting to come through when we take a look at that replay. But for now, I mean, it is Golden Guardians coming back a little bit, putting some very important money into Young and Concept as well. Both these are very capable side laners, and they've been the bread and butter by which Golden Guardians get their strong fights going. When they are able to find a flank, that's when Golden Guardians start winning.
And taking a look back at how they were able to kick this off, it was that just early commitment and then the turn of the fight.
Yeah, because the fight starts so late, everybody on Golden Guardians is able to line up. But the big thing, as Wixie starts getting all that damage down, is the fact that Chad dies without actually using the Lamb's Respite. That's a ton of damage that IMT are suddenly missing. And as it becomes super, super chaotic, it is so difficult for IMT to control this choke point because of how quickly Golden Guardians are actually barreling through it. We already see 3 members just go right through the choke point, and ADD not able to participate whatsoever. So IMT, they kind of get shaken, but considering where the gold went, IMT are not that bad in a spot. It is still Wixie now looking to try and carry this game with all 5 of the kills that they've gotten.
That's right. The power is still in the right place.
Whopper, 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 whopper.
Yusui.
Double, triple, whopper.
On the LeBlanc, so not too difficult of a position to be, as Golden Guardians are simply looking to establish some vision on what has been the quieter part of the map because of that previous dragon fight. But for Golden Guardians side, able to scrap through, break some of the momentum that IMT were building with the dragon stacking.
Yusui.
Immortals side, as Yusui's just still able to report that intel to the rest of the team, how much presence from Golden Guardians is over on this top side. They still have gold lead. They're still feeling good about their carry. Wixie picking up a lot of those kills, and now 2 items deep with the IE completed. And Chad, in that last fight, as you mentioned, not having the Lamb's Respite getting off means that next time around, we'll see all the more difference when that ultimate is utilized, because they were still able to pick up a couple kills for themselves and make sure that Golden Guardians didn't walk away with an ace.
Yeah, I mean, that's always one of the big things is about how effective is that Kindred ultimate, right? Like, who actually benefits more from it? It's super, super context dependent. It's a really cool ability. I'm really glad it's in the game.
Yeah.
But IMT now, they're definitely still in a position where I was kind of hoping that ADD would be a stronger side lane threat, because Concept was able to pick up so many of those plates earlier, has grabbed a couple of kills since then. They're actually a significant player in this side lane for a while, and as long as ADD is pushing, you always have to ask, what is Concept doing? They see him now, that'll give ADD an extra wave to play with. Just as we were talking about before, forcing a ghost out. All right, Joey, one more?
Yep. Let's go for I mean, Joey is just doing exactly what you want to see happen, though. The expectation is never to land every single hook, just to land as many as you possibly can when bringing it off cooldown. And the way that he does, like, Joey does not have any hesitation in trying to get these follow-ups here. So, close call for Concept if that went a little differently, as Immortals still working with a lot of advantages that they have been building up over time.
Yeah. So the big thing to look for at this next fight, Gabby, as we are 40 seconds out from the 4th Dragon of the game, which will be the 3rd for Immortals or the 2nd for Golden Guardians, is whether or not Array will be able to get that 2nd item completed. They're sitting on 2 components. I have to imagine they're close. But even if they have the gold for it and were to back right now, it'd be a little bit late. They would not get to the Dragon on time. That gives Immortals a big advantage here, as Wixie, already completing 2 items, is going to be doing a ton of damage. And as the added safety of both a Thresh and a Gale Force completed. So that's part of why Immortals, they actually have credible threat onto this Baron already, but it is Yusui on the far side of the map. As Immortals, they haven't pulled yet. They're making Golden Guardians think about it.
Yeah, I think Immortals there, they were trying to put the pressure of the decision onto Golden Guardians if they go just as fast or not, but Yasui's trying to look for the flank here. Golden Guardians not quite finding lock yet. Rosethorn sees Yusui, who escapes over the wall. So it's a good way to get the disengage here. But yes, Immortals, they're basically posing that question. Golden Guardians, this would just be your 2nd dragon. For Immortals, it would be Soul Point.
Yeah,
but like, do you really want to go and try and make a play elsewhere? Do you want to try and push us off of this Baron, as they're committing right now below 50% onto the objective? Concept and the rest of the squad encroaching upon the Jinx ultimate.
Oh, he steals it!
Rosethorn gets it! Oh, Immortals punished for it, and Chad now coming through with the ultimate, but at a whole different style. Young hooked off by Joey over in the jungle, and Chad now isolated. Golden Guardians looking to complete the kills as they find Joey, and it's just Yusui over in the mid lane. They flip that play. They get the Baron, and they get the fight after.
We were saying that neither one of these teams is going to be backing down from a fight, but Immortals, they choose to take that 4v5. Yusui is not able to participate at all the entire time. Golden Guardians just rolling on in. They steal the Baron out from underneath them. They're going to be getting this Dragon as well. And so much money. We flipped. It was a 2,000 gold lead for Immortals that is now in favor of Golden Guardians.
That flank positioning that they were looking for with Yusui was for the mid lane play, but it didn't quite work out here.
Yeah, watch Concept here, though. He pulls Chad. He takes him out of the pit. Even though it was still an opportunity, it was still just an outsmite coming through from Rosethorn, reducing the opportunities for Golden Guardians, or for Immortals to even line up for this fight. And the Tom Kench as well, buying time for Concept to come through and use that Omni Vamp to keep them so healthy throughout the rest of this interaction. Feels as though IMT are just on all cylinders for this last fight. They find themselves an advantage now, and how much will they get with this Baron?
So, considering that Golden Guardians
we have a Baron buff timer, let's go!
Yeah, for the Rally Cry Baron buff here for Golden Guardians, it's very important to see what they can do now on this very big turning point for them. 2.5 gold lead for them after Immortals had such a grasp over the entirety of this game. Buffed up waves to be ushered down as there's still over a minute to go on this Baron buff. But IMT trying to play safely. You can see Yusui consistently throughout this game wanting to find those flank angles. But when it doesn't work, those Baron plays happen. When it does work, they definitely have had great chances to get to Array early and even Prismal to take off that protective threat. But right now, it's Concept that they run into first. Looking to join the rest of the Golden Guardian squad, uses the Blast Cone so that IMT cannot follow up successfully. Golden Guardians take down the tier 2 on the bot side. Now Immortals looking to collapse.
Yeah, I mean, opening up this last turret would be a big win for Golden Guardians. They already got 2 turrets off of it. Now Yusui's over a wall. Can he get?
Still looking, still waiting for it. Has the control ward here too, so Golden Guardians can't get the vision on where he might be popping from. ADD marked down, but Immortals are on their side of the map and have some protective capability.
Ooh, they're so reliant on Joey actually landing these hooks. He's the only engage that Immortals actually have. Yusui, they know exactly where he is, and they go.
Yusui has to make it happen, try and help any hook that Joey can land. All the while, Golden Guardians, they get the inhibitor though. That's all that they want. Rosethorn coming on in with the ultimate, trying to attack Yasui, separated from the squad. Joey burned on down. But there's the angle from ADD. Can he get a kill? Yasui popping the watch just in time. But the damage is good. The follow-up from Chad, can they make it happen? Golden Guardians just ebbing in and out of the flow to keep them in at the right on the low. And still, 4 eliminated for Immortals. They can never find the connection they need to kill off Golden Guardians. So, oh my goodness, the plays that have been made in the past 10 minutes, Joshi, have been crucial for GG.
Yeah, they don't lose a single member, and now we see the teleport come through from Young. They are all alive, trying to end the game. Array.
Oh,
they got him.
Yasui taking on down Golden Guardians. Even with some difficulty in the early game against Immortals, put up the fight, bring it back, scrap it with one last kill onto Joey as they finish off this turret to be able to put a bow on this game. Can they wrap around? Actually, Immortals, they managed to get one of the blasts out, so GG unable to finish in time. The spawning is good.
Wow, I mean, IMT, Yasui killing Array at the end there actually means that the game is still going. It's still a tough position coming through for the rest of Immortals, but Golden Guardians firmly in control now. They have buried the Nexus, and it does feel as though, yet again, we are seeing another same thing coming through as what we saw in LCS, Gabby. It is so hard to play LeBlanc into characters like this Tahm Kench. You just can't do it. Yasui has been almost completely neutered this entire series, and so much pressure has been put on ADD. While they had a fantastic play earlier to get behind Array, we have not seen the same kind of efficiency coming out from the Olaf since.
Those plays are just going to be so much harder to find when you're looking at where these fights are happening on the map. Golden Guardians, off of that Baron push, were able to break down so many of these turrets. So you're not going to find as many chances for ADD to be lying in wait for that angle to collapse upon Array. Whereas look at how much time Yasui has spent just trying to find the flank angle. And then when executing upon it, there's not enough to be able to finish off the members of Golden Guardians in those last moments, despite so many of them being alive. They were marked so low, just not gray screened.
Exactly. And we already see right now, whenever you see people going for pen items, you know that they are feeling either super far ahead or super far behind, because these pen items are really just ways to get power now at the expense of power later. You don't really love building any of these pen items basically at any point, because you would always rather have a rabbit ice. You just get so much more damage from that, and so Yasui really knows that the game is up against the wall, and now as IMT are trying to contest, Golden Guardians have already started up the Baron.
And all of Immortals are coming. Yasui this time positioned very differently from what we have seen in the past. As Golden Guardians, they're still on the Baron, but trying to look for the angle. Whether Immortals goes for it first or not, ADD running into concept over and try. Yes, very slow and very much a dance right now.
Yeah. Young has a great position though. He's not DPSing the Baron, but he is trying to create enough space for the rest of his team. And IMT, they are not positioned for a fight at all. In fact, they're teleporting ADD back to base in order to try and make sure that the Nexus doesn't die to super minions. Golden Guardians, they know they don't need to do anything.
Those supers are doing so much work for them by pulling back one of the members.
There's the fight.
Now over the wall, Yasui caught out by Concept in the Weaver's Wall to separate. Immediate kill off of Joey. The teleport coming in by Immortals. See, look, multiple members down low for Golden Guardians, but Rosethorn can keep himself away safely. Concept nice and healthy to keep running at ADD and the rest of the team. Golden Guardians sticking around long enough to make it difficult for IMT to find the openings. You can see ADD taking a decent amount of damage from these long-range attacks from Array, which also forces Chad over the wall. So not as kill-heavy as some of the other fights we've seen, but a very similar feeling result.
Yeah, and Golden Guardians, right, even though they don't get a lot off of that, they just buy so much time here as well. Array is going to be continuing to get stronger and stronger, and as IMT have to back away, they have to deal with these waves every 30 seconds, every 60 seconds, and so Golden Guardians, now they're going right on back to the Baron. IMT has to come back, and there's a super minion already within the walls of the base.
Yasui teleporting to get this control down. They had that inkling that Golden Guardians was going for the repeat play, but Golden Guardians with that swift response from IMT, they do not want to overcommit to it. Rotating back over towards the Riverside. Looks like these teams definitely want to fight over.
Prismal.
Joey finds a good one onto Prismal, so no more top 10. Can Rosethorn get in there? Ends up getting caught by the hook. The box
Do it.
down. Immortals going for the backline. Oh, and they take down Rosethorn, but the trades are fairly even. Young eventually getting eliminated. It's a double kill for Concept. The Lamb's Respite coming out for that last survival, but no, it's a triple for Concept. Good work from Golden Guardians for the ace.
Yeah, Concept has had so much growth throughout the course of this season. He has become a serious contender for the top lane position. Ray flashing over the wall. Let him know. Let him know. We are going to be going to a game 3 here as Golden Guardians, they turn around everything that happened in game 1. They even had a big turnaround here. We got to see how effective Prismal has been on this Tom Kench, putting a complete stop to almost anything that Yusui could do.
Woo! Golden Guardians for the first portion of that game, it was looking like a potential 2-0, but then they were able to keep into it, have some great team fighting, and bring it back to push the series.
Yeah, I mean, Golden Guardians, I said that they were a pretty heavy favorite going into this series. IMT has had 2 strong early games in a row, and Golden Guardians, they fought that one back. They had a strong composition. Prismal, yet again, playing a big part, but it was Concept. It hasn't been the mid laners that have been the big deal. It has been everybody else. Joey popped off game 1. Concept had a fantastic game 2. And as we go into game 3, we got to ask who's going to be standing tall.
I'm ready to find out. Game number 3 on the way between Golden Guardians Challengers and Immortals Progressive Challengers. We will see you there.